I sense that the Lord is really trying to activate some things in us individually, as well as corporately, and to stir faith and stir imagination, and perhaps prompt us to open our mind to the possibilities of God. That's a big deal, because we can easily find ourselves locked into a way of thinking, a way of moving, if you will, a way of believing. Our expectations can be set as we are conditioned by education systems, societal norms, our family structure and upbringing, and life experiences, and even church experiences. Most of us who came up in the church realized as we went down the road in life that there were some things that were not helpful. We needed to undo some stuff to be able to free ourselves, our minds, and again, imaginations, and just our whole thought life about life in its totality. We discover as we go and as we grow in God that there are greater possibilities that are there. All right, it's like the manna. Just you wake up, it's literally sitting there, fresh and ready for consumption. But these restrictions that are placed upon us by education, society, family, prior church experiences, etc., can really lock us down and prevent us from moving into places and spaces that God has for us. And so, as I've been hearing the voice of the Lord regarding these things. I'm just thinking, well, there must be a timing thing. We must be in a due season. We heard at the top of the year that this is the year of turnaround, and I don't know about you, but here February, 2 months in, and I'm already seeing some things turn around. I'm already seeing God move, and they're experiencing transition in a very good way. So I'm hoping that this word, and I know that it will be a word of encouragement, a word of activation, a word of provocation, a word of clarity, a word of confirmation for some of you. You've already heard God speak some things. You begin to see some things manifest and evolve and develop, and it's intriguing to you and exciting. Whenever God moves, it comes with this excitement that it's hard to put to words. It's hard to express it. It's almost like you get the jitters. On the inside, you can feel movement, and you can't quite describe what you're feeling, but you're clear that God is up to something, you see? And so I think that we'll kind of speak to some of that this morning. So I'm going to stumble through some words here. Tomorrow I would put it on you. I could do like Pastor Hines and say, I need you to read this for me. Then I can just listen to you do it. But I'll do it. I'll do it in Exodus 31, verses 1 through 5. The tabernacle is being built. And so there's a call for people to participate in this process. And we'll see here that the Lord calls some people forward, or has Moses call some people forward who has some certain skills, some certain abilities. And so here we have verse 1. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, See, I like that. Just a pause there. Take a look at this. He said, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, to design artistic works, to work in gold, in silver, in bronze, in cutting jewels for setting, in carving wood, and to work in all manner of workmanship. I simply want to point out the fact that we really must give God the credit for the things that he places in us. Most of what was described in these 5 verses, if we were to have this discussion, uh, it if we would give the credit to the individual for having gone to school, practice under a mentor, perhaps, learn the trade through whatever means that they learn the trade. But the Lord told Moses to look, to see that he is the one who put this passion, this skill, this ability in this person, these people specifically. And I think it's so important for us to consider that. We talk so much about what we do in life. We love talking about what we do in life. We're consumed with what we do in life. But to stop and to think, wait, where did it come from? Where did it come from? It came from God. God is the one who gave us the gift. And I think that should be a regular practice. But I want to develop this a little bit more and kind of point to something I spoke of this week in Daystar. And I said I would talk about the it. And of course, Pam asked me if it was the it. No, the it, I-T, the it. And we all have it, right? But we may not always be able to identify it. We may not be able to get in touch with it. Sometimes it's early in life, sometimes it's late in life, the it. But I want to talk about receiving your it, okay? So God freely gives us our it. We call it gifting or grace. But he gives us this it freely. And there's 4 reasons why God gives us our it. By the way, this is not going to be a heavy message. It's going to be simple. This is, again, a word of encouragement, motivation, stimulation, to uncover, to perhaps cut a light on to something that's been there and you've not been able to define or describe what you're experiencing. We had a talk last night. I invited Herman to come to share some of his spoken word poetry. It was absolutely powerful. It was more than I anticipated. We did a whole video production on it, so that'll be available once it gets chopped up for you to check it out. We had a sweet little crowd that came, and it was just a really, really good night. But to see Herman, and he and I are about the same age. I think we're the same age within a year or so. But to see him sit there with all this confidence, he was clearly. It seemed as though real time you can see the fulfillment in this presentation of what's on the inside of him, and he shared that with us and really stirred us, and I was really touched by the response, the audience response, the questions, the comments made, and young people, y'all got a whole other thing that y'all do with this spoken word space. We learned how to do that instead of that. That was good. A young lady came in. We were looking for seats. She said, "No, just give me the floor. I'll sit on the floor." I said, "Okay, cool." So we were learning and having an exchange there. But Herman, who's, and I kind of walked it out from his boyhood all the way up into his career as a corrections officer and sergeant, in fact, at one of the most notorious prisons in America. And then to hear him share the way he shared it, to touch us in these deep ways. I said, now look, all of this life, and here in his 60s, he gets in touch with his it. It's almost like you stumble upon it. You don't see it coming. You're actually touching it and kind of experiencing it, but you don't know that it's your it. It may feel like a hobby. It may be that it feels like something just to pass time away, only to discover that there's something that God put in you that's been resident the whole time. It's your it. And then it shows up. And when it shows up, it's amazing to you, but it's also so rich and so fulfilling. So I don't want to get ahead of myself because I kind of put a little structure to this so we can wrap our heads around it and walk it out. I did a little research on some people who discovered their it later in life, and that's not uncommon. George Benson, when he was coming up as a musician, was a guitar player, and then he decided once he would sing, and they tapped him on the shoulder and said, "George, don't ever sing. Just play the guitar," only for him to become known best for his singing. James Ingram was a scratch singer. He was the one who, when a song came in, he would go into the studio and record it just so the person that would actually produce it and actually sing it could hear how it goes. And then he would sing, and then somebody heard him say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, well, I'm just a scratch singer. I just put these together for other folk to produce." He said, "No, no, no, you need to use that talent." And then we got James Ingram that we got a chance to enjoy up until 2019 when we lost him. I think it was Al Jarreau who was a teacher. B.B. King was a tractor driver and a DJ. You understand? But at some point in time, they got in touch with their it. And when they got in touch with their it changed things. It changed things for them, and it even changed things for us. So it's the it that I wanted to talk about. The it that God gives us. He gives us, number one, to accomplish his purposes. Now, if you have a broader perspective and a broader way of thinking, God moves in all of these places, even in the music and even in entertainment and in other ways, in education, you name it. God is there doing his thing through people. We benefit from that. God gives us freely gifts to accomplish his purpose. I would imagine that Bezalel was not confined to just helping to build a tabernacle. I'm sure that skill set was used to serve the community at large, right? Other people benefited from this thing. But it's all designed, ultimately, big picture, as we understand what God is doing to cause the kingdom to come on earth. Well, there's some excellence that's needed there. There's the Spirit of Christ that gets factored into all of that. So he gives us this it to accomplish his purposes. Number two, he gives us the it to provide a livelihood. Now, right now, Herman is just enjoying it and enjoying the manifestation of it. He's starting to get some trickles through the voiceover work and such. But then there'll come other things. You'll see the evolution of what's going on in his world that will be monetized. And the Lord does that. You see, Bezalel, I'm sure Brother Man got paid very well because according to the scripture here, he was a man of excellence. You know, he was a man of excellence. And so God does it for that reason. He also provides it for just rich fulfillment. Can we own that? Because you know the world we live in, a lot of people hate what they do for a living. I mean, hate it. I had somebody that did very well in their career, made a lot of money. And then he retired. And I said, wow, that's beautiful to be able to retire young with that kind of stack and you're ready to go, right? And then he made a statement that disturbed my peace. He said, I hated every day of my work. I said, wow, what kind of life is that? I don't know if I'd want the money. I'd want to have the rich fulfillment that the it provides. And God provides that it. And you can enjoy it. You can be fulfilled. In fact, you should be. You should be expected to be fulfilled and enriched in what you do. And then your it should provide enrichment in the lives of others. Other people should get in touch with your it and feel some kind of way that's very, very wonderful because God put that in you. Now, if you've not experienced your it, then this is a time to have your imagination stirred and perhaps look for and have the expectation that my it exists because God put it in you, just like he put it in Bezalel. God's put it in you. It's just a matter of when, where, and how. When, where, and how. So remember the it accomplishes God's purpose, provides a livelihood, provides rich fulfillment, and it enriches the lives of others. Other people will be touched and moved by your it. Now the interesting thing, and for me, when I got the photography it, and I realized that this was something that was going to be a legitimate offering. You know, it was more than a hobby, more than just a momentary experience. When I started to realize as it manifested, and then I'm down the road, a couple thoughts I had was, I said, okay, you know, I've done entrepreneurial things. I've had success in different areas, right? But this was the first time that my children got to see the it manifested, the birthing of the it. They had never experienced it. They came into life with, newspaper clippings and certificates and awards and accolades and all that, and photographs of the past. So that was Nolan before they got here. But all of a sudden, they're seeing this manifested. They got a chance to see Nolan, the author, that it show up in my life. And by the way, you may have more than one it. So they saw it, and then I said, wow, this is, after a certain age and certain stage, you think, you are who you are, you're what you were born to be, if you will, or whatever career path, whatever you spent all these years in, you've done the thing, and that's life, and now you're just kind of waiting for the time to tick away, and you can close that chapter and open up the retirement chapter and go on and ease out of life. But it's not necessarily God's plan, and we have evidence of it. So many people, both in Scripture and in our own, experiences, we see so many people discover their it later. Jesus had an inclination of his it when he was 12 years old, and his mother and his father and his siblings got a chance to see his it kind of peek out, and then you get silence, and then at age 30, the it fully manifests. It's like, oh my goodness. So this is what this is all about, right? Moses went through phases, we're talking generational phases before the full it is manifested, and God uses it to do incredible things for him. And it touched his life and made his life full in the life of others. So it's something that you receive, by the way, something that you receive, not something that you pursue. It's actually pursuing you. It's pursuing you, your it. And we see them manifested in a couple seasons of life, either early childhood or later in life. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. There are children that you see who, when they are young, they have passion for something. Nobody talked to them about it. Nobody exposed them to anything. You see musicians, you see a lot of musicians. We saw it in Jada. Look at Jada. Here she is, she's plugging in from Amsterdam, a teenager on a big stage. God opened the door to put her in a place that some people would give their right arm to get there. Some people would have worked, night and day. She just basically flowing out of her passion, what she loved, tapped into her it so young. Surprised mom and daddy. Mom and daddy were like Jesus's parents. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. Discovered it, tapped into it young in life. Now other folk, it may be later in life. And I want to encourage everybody, and we kind of hit this the other week, I know, so the Lord is still talking. I want to encourage you to look for, anticipate, expect your it to show up. And it may be after, what you call retirement. It may be down the road. It may be after you've become set in a place of, your career or your business ownership, right? And many times, when it shows up, it looks like happenstance. It doesn't look like God was really involved in it. It just looks like, how did we get here? For me, the photos, when Sion was on our board of directors, he came by the house one day to pick up some documents. On the floor, we had wiped out the living room and the dining room to redo the floors. I had a photo of the Eiffel sitting on the floor, leaning against the wall, not framed, just matted. And Sion says, "Where did you get that photograph?" I said, "I took it in Paris." He says, "No, you didn't." I said, "I did." He said, "Man, you got a good eye." I said, "Well, thank you." And then he said, "Can I buy it?" And of course, yes, you can. So I had to figure out how to sell it and do a little math and figure that out. And then he said, "Man, you should really look into this." I said, okay. Looks like happenstance, right? He just stopped by the house and yeah, yeah. And so I called a gentleman that I knew that I had represented with my PR firm who owned the gallery. I said, hey, can we have lunch? I took a set of photos and a little book. In fact, I got the little book. I just pulled it out the other day, cleaned it up. And I said, look through these and tell me what you think. He said, wow, you got a great eye. He then took me to Andre Guichard, well-known artist here in the city, has a big gallery. Andre looks at it, and he's painting while he's talking to me. And he's painting. Oh, he said, brother, you got the gift. And from there, he said, you need to get into this uh, uh, to this juried exhibit, give it a try. I'm not taking it seriously. I wait to the very last minute to submit, and of course, we know the rest of the story. It just goes on, and now we have what we have in that area of life. It's fulfilling to me. It's richly fulfilling to me, and it blesses other people. I've seen God do the it thing later in life. Expect your it to show up. It might look like happenstance. It's just the way that God does his thing. And it's a child of God. There should be the expectation and the anticipation that God will do these kind of things. He will do it for you because he loves you. There will be serendipitous moments along your life. So don't give up on the idea that God might provide for you and make manifest in your life your it that's been there all along. Now, one of the mistakes I've watched people make, number one, is complaining about their present state. See if you can just eradicate that. Just get rid of that. Stop complaining and start to expect, right? Stop with the complaining and just expect God. Now, another thing that people will do is try to create their own trying to become something that they're not. That's not your gift. That's not your skill set. Okay. And in a moment, I'm going to talk to you about what it looks like when you tap into your it, as you receive. When you tap, this is what it looks like, right? But don't try to be what you're not. Ease up, all right? Ease up, and let it come to you, cause it'll just show up like Sion knocking on the door, right? It'll just show up. Somebody overhears something that you've done that you thought was nothing, only to find out that it was profound. That's the way God does what he does. Okay, I hope this is helpful. I hope it's stimulating and encouraging. So knowing your it just feels right. It fits like a glove when you tap into your it. You know, it's almost like it requires nothing. I tell people all the time, for the things that I do and the things that I love, preaching, photography, the creative, uh, anything creative, being strategic, all of those things. You can wake me up out of bed, and I can just walk right into it effortlessly. It has nothing to do with me as a person that's been developed and accomplished. It has all to do with the it that God put in my life. And he put it in my life to accomplish his purpose, to provide for me a livelihood, to provide rich fulfillment. My life is full in that. I get a high with everything that I do. What I'm doing now, I get a high. When I'm in the gallery, I get a high. God has that for you as well. And then it enriches the lives of others. Yeah, I'm repeating that. But it'll feel right. It'll fit like a glove, and it will always lift you, always lift others, and it will flow through you organically. It's like, yeah, you have to put forth effort to develop the skill set, to develop the gifting that God's given you. You need to exercise it. And exercising it sometimes just means, giving yourself the time to do it over and over and over again, to free your mind, to get rid of some of those boxy restrictions that the church might have put on you, society, your family, voices, oh my God, education. It's easy to wind up in a box and feel as though you shouldn't be doing that. If I told you how many times people looked at me sideways and questioned the things that I've gotten involved in that's outside of pastoring, it freaks people out. People are very uncomfortable with people who have tapped into their it. Very uncomfortable. It just disturbs their boxy peace. And they need you to be in that space, not for you, but for them. They need you to stay in this box. I'm comfortable with you in one place. I don't like the fact that you might be several people. You might have several its, and you're able to do them all. Yeah? You're able to do them all. So receiving your it, I'm going to give you 11 quick points and close it out. to receive your it. Number one, be willing to take risk. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a little weird. You're going to wonder, what are you doing there, particularly if you're down the road in age, right? But take risk. Try something, okay? Sample and explore. Taste stuff. You know, I've talked to a number of you, and I talk to people all the time because they identify with the entrepreneurial spirit, and they have ideas, they have thoughts, they have things they want to do, things that they have in mind. It wakes them up in the morning. It's with them when they go to sleep. They run into it. They see others doing what they have dreamed. That it is knocking on the door. But it's not gonna move forward if you stay in the box of comfort and familiarity. You got to come out of that box. You got to sample, tap it, explore, and then there's a whole lot go with that. Let me see if I can wrap it up in these. Okay. Number 3, you need to run your own race and stop comparing yourself with others. That's a big deal. You are you. You have what you have. You have the gifting that you have. Other people will do other things. They will have other gifting. Okay, but pay attention to your own race. Whatever the it is that's speaking to you, just pursue that. Don't look for, to see what others are doing. Do you. Be relational. Number 4, be relational, not transactional. A big deal. Now, there's a lot. I could really just take these and build a whole series of talks on this, because this is big stuff. But relational, not transactional. I had a gentleman to come into the gallery the other day. I hosted the Aurora Chamber of Commerce, and there's an Asian gentleman, and he came, and he sat, and he was talking, and I could feel him rushed to make his point, to see if he could get me to commit to doing some things with their organization. And so I had to slow him down and explain to him. I said, sir, you don't have to close the deal tonight. I am not transactional. I am relational. We'll have time beyond this moment to have conversations. We can spend some time together. I can kind of, wrap my head around your community, and you can wrap your head around mine, and then we will find in the middle of that place where my it will speak to your need. So just relax. But because of the world being so transactional, and everybody wants to just get the deal done and, get their part of it done, to get their thing accomplished, do what they're looking to get done, they miss this beautiful opportunity of relationship. Last night, when we were wrapping up Herman's talk, and I shared with the people that were present there, I said there was no money exchange here. It's just one brother supporting another brother. And it's mutual, because you're here, so you get a chance to see my it, right? And then we're here to experience his it. We're all having this experience together, and it's relational, not transactional. It's not about who's getting ready to get paid. It's just that I got an it that I need to express. And out of that natural expression will come whatever transaction or transactions. And in most cases, if you will build relationally, there will be multiple transactions. If you build transactionally, there'll be one transaction. So you want to be relational, right? Receiving your it. You may be asked today to help with building the tabernacle, but trust me, everybody that saw you work on the tabernacle is going to want to talk to you about their tabernacle. Okay, so build relational. Receiving your it, receive it in the course of relationships. God will bring it to pass in the course of relationships. And so that calls for authenticity. That calls for something deeper within. Yeah, I'm not just wanting to get close to you to get something from you. And this is, by the way, this is the way I've lived my entire life, and I enjoy it because there's a freedom, there's a liberty, there's a peace, there's fulfillment in that. I may never get anything from you from a transactional standpoint, but because I understand and identify with my own it, and I'm clear on it, I can give because of where it comes from. Okay, it can't be exhausted. When God gives you an it can't be exhausted. You're going to leave the planet still giving out of your it. There's no depletion because of the place of origin. Okay? And so number 5 is don't make everything about money. That's a mistake I see people make all the time. It's all about the paper, all about the Benjamins, and we got other words, the stack, the bag. Okay, don't do that. That's the world talking, and that's all the world talks about. And if you follow the trail from those conversations, these people wind up empty. They've never tapped into the it in a way that it was designed to be tapped into. So it becomes greed and accumulation and amassing. That's not what this is about. It brings such rich fulfillment to you and to others. Okay? Number 6, stop looking for affirmation outside of yourself. No, when the it shows up, it confuses most people. You know, it's like, what are you doing? Okay, Gloria, don't unmute. Just listen, and let me just tell these people. We're in Paris. I got the girls. I got Gloria. I got the camera. What are they doing? Looking in the windows for the sales. What am I doing? On the Champs-Élysées shooting photographs. They come out of the store. They look at me. What do they say? Are you still fooling with that camera? Put that camera down. We're on vacation. That was then. Now she's my manager. She tells me what I should be printing, what I should be framing, what I should be doing. And my husband's an artist. He's a gallerist. And of course, I'm his wife. Don't look for people to understand the it, even the people you sleep with. It's not a negative. It's just the reality of how God manifested it in your life. And so if you're looking for affirmation outside of yourself, you're not going to go anywhere. You're going to shut it down. In that moment, I could have turned my camera off, forgot about it. And by the way, I didn't get into this to try to be an artist. I didn't get into this to try to sell art. I'm just shooting things that I observe that are interesting to me and captured it. And the consequence is it was my it, and I didn't know it because it looked like happenstance. It showed up, manifested itself. And now I actually get to pay for stuff out of it. But it's blessing me and it's blessing others. Yeah. And so let God order your steps. Let him do the ordering. Don't get so structured that you structure the God factor out, the God of possibilities. He wants you to have this full, complete, rich, wonderful experience. So let him order your steps. He said he would. Okay? And then let me just walk this down very simply. Be humble. Be grateful. Be generous. And be faithful. And enjoy your it. Thank you so much.